All right, so we're on day 2 here, and we stopped at number 15. We got 1 through 15 already online, and there's notes online as well. Let's go through 16 through 30, unless you're having me go to different places. But we'll start off with number 20, just to make sure we get that one done and out of the way. Let's see here, 18, 19, and 20. It says, write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line through the given points. In other words, they want us to write an equation. Okay? Again, they said slope-intercept form. So they want me to write an equation that looks like this. Okay? Now, in order to write an equation that looks like that, I need to know the slope, and I need to know an intercept. They gave me 2 points. So remember, if you're given 2 points, you can always find slope. So I'm going to call this x1, y1, x2, y2. So doing my equation, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, my slope would be 1 minus 3 over 2 minus negative 1. Usually I put the second number in parentheses too, just to make sure I don't mess up. So 1 minus 3, that's going to be a negative 2. And a 2 plus 1 is a 3. So right now I'm just kind of looking. This one can't be an answer and that one can't be an answer, right? Because my slope is negative 2/3. So only A or B are possible answers. Now I got to figure out my B value. So the way I do that is I'm going to use my slope and one of those points in that equation that I wrote up there. So let me use the y value. I'll just pick the, I don't know, first point. Doesn't matter. I'll use the y value here. Okay. I'm going to use the x value. Oops, I thought I picked a different color here. I'll use the x value here. Okay. And then my slope is going to come. So this, why is it not changing color? This slope right here, this m value, will go right here. And that leaves me with the b value that's not touched, right? That means I'm going to solve for b. So let me plug those in. So y is 3. This is negative 2/3. And x is negative 1 plus b. So 3 is equal to 2/3 because negative 2/3 times negative 1 is just a positive 2/3 plus b. And I have to subtract 2/3 from both sides. Again, you guys will have a calculator here. But if I subtract 2/3 from both sides, 3 minus 2/3 is 2 1/3. Now 2 1/3, I can rewrite it as 7 over 3. So my answer is A. Because my B value is 7/3. If you want to write the equation, it would look like this, right? Negative 2/3 x plus 7/3. Is that one okay? Makes sense? It's a lot of work compared to some of the other stuff, right? You did have to find out your slope. But remember, a quick little hint for you guys is any time that you're given 2 points, okay, at least so far this year, any time that you guys are given 2 points, you guys should be probably using a slope formula to find slopes for something. If they're asking you for equations of lines, the slope formula is going to always be there. And then usually the line they use is y equals mx plus b. So just look for stuff like that. Is there anything else specific you guys want me to do? 19 and 22? Okay. So let me go back to 19. Write the slope-intercept form of the equation of a line given through the point and also given a slope. So they're giving me a slope and a point. So this one's a little bit easier than 20 because in 20 I had to figure out the slope first, right? This one they gave it to me. So all I got to use is this formula. Again, they said slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. And I'm just going to use my x value and my y value and my m value, right? This is my m value. I'm going to plug it in. I'll find b, and then I'll know exactly what my answer is going to be. Now, just so you know, My slope is a -1, correct? That's what they said. So this one can't be an answer, and this one can't be an answer. Because in B, the slope is 3. And, sorry, in B, the slope is 1. And in C, the slope is 3. So that doesn't make sense. Only A and D make sense. Slope of -1. So let's figure out my B value. So it's either going to be a -1 or a +3. Let's find out. So y is -4. M is -1. X is 3. So this gives me -4 equal to -3 plus b. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add that -3 over to the left side. So when I add this over, I get -1 is equal to b. So this is my answer right here. Okay, because my b value came out to -1. If it would have come out to +3, I would have picked D. Again, if you want to write down the equation, it would look like this once you're done with all that solving. You guys also said 22. Are we okay with this one? So 22. And for those of you guys that weren't here yesterday, just a quick reminder for everybody, but specifically for those that weren't here. This is not being collected. Okay, I'm not collecting this. Let me pause this real quick. All right, so for number 22, it says write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line. So again, they want y equals mx plus b, right? They need me to write something like this. All right. They gave me a point, but then they say perpendicular to that line, okay? Now, the slope of that line right here, I'm going to call it perpendicular slope, is -1/2. That's the perpendicular slope, okay? So what is the slope that I have to use if I want it to be perpendicular to that slope? You guys remember what to do? The reciprocal, and you switch the sign, so it's a... No, but what would be the answer? I think someone said it. A 2/1, right? It would be a 2/1, because if you get -1/2 and you flip it, it's -2/1. Then you change the sign, it becomes just 2/1, or just 2. So my slope is just a 2. Okay, and I have a point of 1, -3. So here's my xy. So I just got to plug that into that equation and figure out my b value. Okay, but I know my slope has to be 2, so it can't be this one. It can't be this one. It can't be this one. So guess what? I already know my answer. It has to be B. Okay? But let's just make sure. But it has to be B, because my slope has to be 2. The other ones have different slopes, -1, -4, -5. That's not the right slope that I want. But just to solve it, -3 is equal to 2 times 1 plus B. -3 equals to 2 plus b, and if I move the 2 over, that's -5 equal to b. So again, notice there's that -5 right here. So that would be my answer, 2x minus 5. Is there anything else specific? 31. All right. Let me leave this up here real quick. I saw some of you guys still looking up here. So 31 is past what I'm supposed to do today, but that's okay. Again, that's why I want you guys to try doing it on your own. Get a little further. Look for those harder questions, right? Any question within the first 30 probably will be a little bit on the easier side. After that, they start to get a little more complicated. All right, so they want us to multiply, okay? 31 says g of n is 4n plus 2, h of n is n minus 5. G times h of n, multiplying those things, multiply g of n times h of n. That's what this means right here. This means g of n times h of n. So we're just going to multiply those two things and then find our answer. So G of n for me is going to be 4n plus 2. H of n is going to be, actually, let me move this over to the other side. Hold on, give me a second. Because I'm going to run into 32 and then I might take away room that I need. So I'm going to put it right here. G of n is 4n plus 2. H of n is n minus 5. And I'm just going to multiply. You can do X method, distribution, whatever you'd like. So 4n times n is 4n squared, and 4n times negative 5 is negative 20n. And then 2 times n and 2 times negative 5, that's 2n minus 10. 4n squared minus 18n minus 10 is what it reduces to. So it's going to be a D kind of looks like it. Be careful. That's a positive 18n for part D. Notice in the very beginning when I did my very first multiplication and I got 4n squared, I could have automatically come here and gotten rid of these. Because those would have not been right. Okay? But it was that middle term that really decides what's going to happen. So that's multiplication. For number 30, you're just going to subtract. Okay? You're not going to multiply those. Anything else? 32. Solve by substitution. So remember, substitution means you're going to get one equation and plug it into the other one. Let me write this out like this. So the idea of substitution is you're supposed to have two different equations, and then after you get those two equations, you're supposed to solve one of them for one letter. In our case, both of them are solved for a letter. So in that case, just take any equation. So I'm going to take this equation, and I'm going to throw it over there. Okay? So I know that y is equal to 2x plus 18. So anywhere I see the letter y in the other equation, I'm going to write 2x plus 18. So notice instead of y equal to x plus 10, I wrote 2x plus 18 equals to x plus 10. Now I'll subtract x. That gives me x plus 18 equals to 10. And then I'll subtract 18 on both sides. So I'm going to move this over. That gives me x equal to negative 8. So I could tell what my answer is right now. What's my answer?
B.
B, right? It can't be this one. It can't be this one. It can't be that one. But just to solve it, just to make sure, we'll plug in a negative 8 back into the other one, right? We're going to get this answer. We're going to plug it in here. So 2 times negative 8 plus 18, that's negative 16 plus 18, which is a 2. So my point would be negative 8, comma 2. That's the nice thing about multiple choice tests is you don't always have to do the whole problem. If you do your work right, sometimes if the result has like multiple pieces, you can kind of start looking and eliminating options, right? So, be smart about your testing. Like, you don't always have to finish the whole problem, right? Sometimes you can tell it's going to be this because of that, right? So, whereas the one of that we did, number 31, that was a little tricky because when I first multiplied and I got 4n squared, I couldn't just pick A or D. Like, I still had to figure out the middle term, right? I would notice that the last terms are identical, minus 10 for A and D. But the positive 18n, negative 18n, that was different. So once I figured that out, then I can pick my answer. By the way, right now that Giselle came in, just reminded me, the superintendent is supposed to be on campus today. Don't freak out if she shows up to you. Okay? They're just here looking. Anything else? Sorry? The final will be multiple choice. It's going to be on computers. So I already asked Ms. Kirker, the librarian, if she could let us borrow like 5 computers just in case. Because like I said, I know Khalil uses one. Anybody else use their own computer here? Their own Mac or something? So just one? All right. So that would be, no, it's right here. So, yeah, if you have your own computer, you're going to need a Chromebook. So I'm going to borrow some just in case. And then also, just in case yours died or something and you don't have a charger, I'll have some extras. But we'll try to reserve those for the people that like truly, truly need it. If we can charge it, we'll charge it. Anything else? 31? 33. Oh, this one's by elimination. All right. So 5x plus y equals negative 26. Negative 5x minus 3y equals to 18. Now the idea of elimination is to add or subtract to cancel stuff out. Okay? Remember, elimination means eliminate one term. Okay? Sometimes you eliminate both, but that's a whole different situation. But eliminate one at least. So I'm going to just add. Let's see what happens. Okay? 5x plus negative 5x, well, that's 0. And y plus negative 3y, that's negative 2y. Negative 26 plus 18, that's 8, right? Negative 8. Okay, now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. That gives me y equal to 4. So I actually know what my answer is now. Which one is it? It's B, because all the other ones are negative 4s, unless I did this wrong, but I don't think I did. But yeah, right now it looks like, so let me just double check. If I add 5x and negative 5x, that's 0. Y plus negative 3y is negative 2y. Negative 26 plus 18 would be negative 8. So if I divide two negatives, I get a positive. So yeah, this can't be it. Has to be B. But let's just keep solving just in case this doesn't happen on your final. So I'm going to get my y value. I'm going to pick one of the two equations. It doesn't matter which one you pick, but pick one of the two. I'll go with the top one, okay? Just because it's the top one. So here we go. 5x plus y equals negative 26. And I'm going to plug in my y right there. So 5x plus 4 is negative 26. If I subtract 4, that's 5x equals to negative 30. And if I divide by 5, I get a negative 6, which makes sense. My point should be negative 6, 4. And that's B. Now remember, if all your letters disappear, and you get, let's say, like 5 equals 5, then you're going to say all real solutions, right? Like infinitely many solutions. If all the letters disappear and what you have is like 6 equals 10, that's false, then you write no solution. Okay, so no solution if the statement is false. All real numbers are infinitely many solutions if the answer is true. Okay, I don't know if any of that happens. I'm not sure. Anything else? 35. Sketch the solution of each system of equations. So here we go. So we're going to have to sketch both. In order to do that, we're going to have to solve for y. So number 34 should be a little easier because you don't have to worry about solving. So let's go ahead and solve these. So x plus y is greater than 1. If I solve for y, I'll move the x over. This is y greater than negative x plus 1. Now if I were to graph this, my slope is negative 1. My y-intercept is positive 1. Now it should be a line that's going downhill, correct? This one should be going downhill. So let me look at my downhill lines for part A. Okay. It should be crossing at 1. Notice, crosses at 1. Right there. And it should have a slope of negative 1 over 1. So 1 down, 1 over, 1 down, 1 over. That makes sense. And it should be a solid or a dashed line. Dashed, right? Because it's greater than. So that line makes sense. All right. So, all right. Let's look at the next one. Part B is at 1. It is dashed. And it does have a slope of 1 down, 1 over. So that one looks good. See, both of them are going up. That's not right. And for D, They're both going up, right? So that's not right either. Okay? So it's either going to be A or B. Now it just depends on, I guess, the slope and everything for the other one. So let's see. X minus y less than or equal to 3. So let me move the x over. Okay, I'm going to move this x over to this side. So I get negative y less than or equal to negative x plus 3. Okay, and then I'm going to divide everything by negative 1. So I get y is greater than or equal to x minus 3. So my slope is 1. My y-intercept is negative 3. By the way, I forgot to mention one thing about the first equation. Which way is this supposed to be shaded? The very first one, y greater than negative x plus 1. Is that above or below? Above. It's above, right? So I could have actually given you the answer before because, and I just forgot to check that. I was going to check it at the end. But notice this one, this is above, right? You see how the gray is up on top? And look at this one. This is shaded below because the gray is below. Okay? But right now we'll do it at the same time. But I could tell you right now your answer is going to be A. So for the second equation, we're going to have to cross negative 3, which is there with the slope of 1. That looks right. 1 up, 1 over. So that's good. And the other one is the same too. Starts at negative 3, goes 1 up and 1 over. So both of those lines are good. Okay? And it's a solid line, which it's supposed to be because it's less than or equal to. So now I just got to graph it. So here we go. If I sketch the one that we did first, it would be all of this top part because we said it was above. Okay? And then if I do the other equation, y greater than or equal to x minus 3, that's also supposed to be above, right? Y greater than or equal to x minus 3, it's above. So it's going to be all of this. And notice the area that basically gets covered over is that gray area that they colored in for us, right? That gray area for me is now green. But let me erase it and you'll see the green area is their gray area. So here we go. Okay, that was the green area right here. This is your answer. Okay, so it is A. So I kind of did this out of order from the way I taught you guys. Normally what I'd make you guys do is I'd make you guys graph the line, do the dashes and everything, and then color it in. And then I'd make you do the other line, do the dashes or solid line, and then color it in. That way you can see it. Right now I kind of did both lines, and then I colored it in later, which it's not like it's wrong. It's just, that's kind of the way I do it personally. That's not the way I usually teach it. So, but if it didn't bother you, then that's fine. Just keep it that way. But that would be number 35. You are going to have to graph. Anytime you see a graph and there's shading, that's always an inequality, so you're going to have to kind of look into that. All right? Any questions on this one? So again, we were able to eliminate 2 of them earlier because the graphs didn't make sense, right? The lines were both going up when one of them should have been going down because it was a negative slope. But once we did that, we had a 50-50 shot. And if you had to guess, I'd rather guess 50-50 than 1 out of 4, right? You have a better chance of guessing that. So, anything else? So, just a quick note for you guys. Remember, if it says greater than or equal to, you're going to shade up. Less than or equal to, you're going to shade down. Okay? So this is when it comes to shading. So you shade up or down. And then remember, if it's a solid line or a dashed line, less than or greater than, these are dashed. Greater than, equal to, less than or equal to, these are solid lines. And again, that's all in the notes that I've given you guys before, but I know we've done so much, you might be like, well, where do I find that, right? So that would be graphing inequality. That's what we're doing, graphing inequalities. Anything else? No, we just go back to 16 and continue. All right, so let's go back to 16 and see how that is. Oh, and actually 16, there's a good thing I have to tell you guys about. Something we noticed. Did I notice it in this class? Did I mention 16 at all yesterday? No, right? So it was during 5th period. All right. So it says rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form, then sketch the graph. Okay, so y equals mx plus b, okay? So that means I got to solve for y. So I got 4x plus 5y equals negative 5. So I'm going to move the 4x over. So give me 5y equal to negative 4x minus 5. And then I'm going to divide everything by 5. So I get y equal to negative 4/5 x minus 1. Now this created a bit of a problem for some people. I don't know if anybody had a little issue with it. But look at your answers in your paper. Which one would you say is the answer? Is it A, B, C, or D? Or let's do it this way. Which one is not an answer for sure? B, all right, because my slope is negative, right? And B is going uphill. So it can't be this one. Is there another one that's not an answer? D, okay. So that means my answers are either A or C. Well, which one is it? I know in the back of the papers it'll tell you, right? But which one would you pick, A or C? I would pick C over A. And then you might say, well, wait a minute. I mean, C, it looks like it's crossing negative 1, right? And it's going downhill. That looks good. But then look at A. Is that one also crossing negative 1? I mean, if I'm going to be really, really technical, is it really crossing negative 1? No, it's a little bit below the halfway mark. I don't like this question. I don't like the way it is. It's too close. Like negative 1 is like right here. And the line is touching right there. Like, look at how little, the space in between is like so little, right? So it's kind of confusing. They both look right. They both look right. But the answer, if I had to pick it, I would pick C. It just looks like it's more at negative 1. This one looks like it's a little bit below it. Like at negative 0.6, negative 0.7, something like that. So yeah, this one's kind of confusing. That might be like negative 1.2 maybe. Something like that. I don't know. It's too close. The answer is C. But I don't like how close the answer is to being A or C. But C does the right thing. It does pass through the right place. Hold on, I got it. Right on it, and there we go. All right. So yeah, that one's kind of confusing. I wanted to make sure that we went over that one. 17, write the slope-intercept form of the equation of each line, given the slope and the y-intercept. So they gave me the slope and the y-intercept, M and B. So M is negative 3/4. B is 0. So y equals mx plus b will just be negative 3/4 x plus 0, or just negative 3/4 x. So that one's pretty easy. Just make sure you know your parts. (18) Write the slope-intercept form of the equation of this line. So remember, in order to do this, we need slope, we need intercept, okay? So let me zoom in. I need slope, and I need the intercept. The easiest part is the intercept. Where does this cross the y-axis? And it's kind of tricky, but it's at -5, right? Good. So -5. So notice it can't be D. The other ones do have a -5. And then I need to know my slope. Okay? So let's just pick 2 points. I'll pick this one right here, the one that we just found. What other point should I pick? This one here? That one looks pretty good. So that means I got to go up twice, once over. 2 over 1. Positive slope of 2 over 1. So it can't be B, that's a negative slope, and it can't be C, so it has to be A. Right? Has to be A. And that does make sense, right? Y equal to 2x minus 5. So it's A. All right, 19. Already did it. 20. Already did it. 21, haven't done it, but we did the 22, so let's go to 21. So writing a parallel line to that line, and it's going through the points 3, 1. So if my new line is going to be parallel, what is the slope going to be? 1 over 3, right? Same slope, right? If it said perpendicular, I would write -3, because I got to flip it and then change the sign. But since they said parallel, parallel means use the same slope I give you. So they gave me a 1/3. I'm going to use that same slope. And then I'm going to use this point here. Okay? So I just got to use y equals mx plus b, figure out my b value, and there we go. Now, just so you guys know, can you figure out the answer at this point? Yeah, I don't have to do any of this work. It's not this one, or that one. It has to be A. That's the only one with the positive 1/3 slope, right? Again, you guys heard that saying, work smarter, not harder, right? Like once you know certain information, look at your options and see if you can verify anything. And you're like, oh, this doesn't work, right? Sometimes you can knock everything out. You don't have to do the rest of the work. I'm going to do it anyway, because if you don't notice it, you're going to want to see how it's done, right? So here we go. We got to find B. If B is 2, then I know I got the right answer, right? So here we go. Y equals mx plus b. This is x. This is y. I know my m, so 1 equals to 1/3 times -3 plus b. So 1 is equal to -1 plus b. That's what 1/3 of -3 is. It's -1. If I move the -1 over, that gives me 2 equal to b, which is what I said. If b is equal to 2, I'm good. So your equation would be 1/3 x plus 2, which is A. So there's that one. We did 22. 23, graph this one. So remember, guys, what can I use as a giveaway to help me say, like, oh, it can't be this one, it can't be that one? So go ahead.
There's no or is equal sign, so it'll be dashed.
It's going to be dashed, okay.
It's shaded down.
Okay, shaded below, dashed. What else? There's one other thing I can see that's a good...
Slope.
Huh?
The y-intercept.
Okay, that'll help me. Anything else? That will help me. There's one more thing that I kind of noticed. There's actually 4 pieces that I can see. That'll tell me, like, hey, look for this stuff. So we mentioned slope, right? Sorry, not slope. Y-intercept. Okay? We mentioned the fact that it's less than, so it's shaded below. We mentioned the fact that it's a less than, so it's dashed. Okay? Also, the fact that the slope is negative means the line should be going downhill. Okay? So if I look at A, does that one make sense? Is it crossing through positive 2?
No.
No. So then it's not A. Is B crossing through positive 2? Yes. Is it shaded below?
No.
No. And I heard you say, Adrian, it's solid. Yeah, it should have been dashed, right? Let me write down the problem here. Y less than negative x plus 2, just so that we don't have to keep going back up and down. All right, C. Is that one crossing through positive 2? Yes. Is it shaded below? Yes. Is the line dashed? Yes. Is the line going downhill? Yes. Has to be C. Look at D. What's the problem with that one? It's positive slope. It's going up, right? If you can just identify the important parts of the equation, which you should know, right? Because y equals mx plus b. We know b is where it crosses. M is its slope. And then the less than, greater than, if you know, like dash, solid, above, below. You can figure this stuff out without doing any work at all. If you want to graph it, go ahead, but I really don't think you need to. Just pay attention to the equation. All right? This one I am going to have to kind of manipulate a little bit. So I have 5x minus y less than or equal to 0. Got to solve for y. So I got to move the 5x over. So negative y less than or equal to negative 5x plus 0. But I'm not going to put plus 0 because, y. It's not going to do anything. I'll divide everything by negative 1, okay? I'm going to show that. So y is greater than or equal to 5x. All right, so based on the equation, my slope is a positive 5. My intercept is 0. So look at part A. Okay, and then we'll deal with the greater than, less than, and stuff after. But let's at least try to get rid of the stuff that doesn't make sense to the actual equation itself. Does part A cross through the y-intercept of 0? No. That would be right here. It doesn't. What about B? It does cross through 0. Does it have a positive slope line? No, this one's going downhill. So it can't be that one. All right, so I'm only looking for lines that are going up. So that means if I'm only looking for lines that go up, then D can't be the answer. Right? Has to be C. Now let's just double check it though. So, crosses through 0, check. Positive slope, check. Shaded above or below? Above, check, right? And it should be a solid line. Yes, it is. That's my answer. Okay? So, again, use the pieces that you're given to figure stuff out. You don't have to do all that work, right? So, there's number 20, what was that? 24. All right. And we did 25, 26. I know we're getting close here. So we did 24, so that's, we're supposed to get to 30. 25, 26 we haven't touched. 27, 28, 29, 30, but then we did a bunch of them here. So I'm just looking really quick. All right, we didn't touch any of that. All right, we'll see if we can get these last two done and then stop. Okay, that way at least you get your 5 minutes. So I just got to get to 17. So maybe I can do both, maybe I can't. But, all right. Remember, an absolute value function looks like the letter V. The A term, so in case you guys don't remember, this is what it looks like. That's what it's supposed to look like. Your A term tells you whether it opens up or down. If it's a V that opens up or a V that opens down. Okay? Your K term your HK term tells you your center, the vertex. Okay? So, number 25 opens which direction? Up, because the number in front of my absolute value is a positive 1. So it opens up. So let me really quick just go through and say which ones it can't be. So they all open up. So, oh well, that doesn't help. Now I need to know my vertex, my HK. Remember, H always lies, right? What's my H value? -1. What's my K value? Negative 2. So now I'm looking for the point -1, -2. Okay? So A might be it. I'm not 100% convinced, but it looks good. Right? Actually, no, I'm sorry. That can't be it. That's a +2, -1. I had my things completely crossed. It can't be A. -1, -2. So here's -1, there's -2. That one looks pretty good. All right, this is a 1, 2. That's not good. That's off. And this is a -2, +1. That's not right. So it has to be B. Because that one has it at the point -1, -2. I can definitely do one more in 2 minutes. That took us 2 minutes. So let's do this last one, and then we'll stop. Okay? I know we didn't get to 30, but we did other numbers past 30, so that's okay. All right, that's fine. So this next one, number 26, should open which way? Opens down. So let's start with that. It can't be A, can't be B. C and D are options, so okay. What's my vertex? 2, 1. So good, 2, 1. So let's see. This right here is -1, -2. It can't be that one. This right here is 2, 1. So there you go. So we'll stop there.